I hope you want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. If I thought I had what would desire, and that one is you, no other you. Lost all ambition, the will that's clay. I just want to be the one you love. With your admission that you feel the same, I'll reach the goal I'm in love. Believe me, I hope you want to set the world on fire. I just want to start with a bit in your heart. I don't want to set the world on fire. I love you too much. I just want to start a great big flame down in your heart. You see, way down inside me, darling, I have only one desire. That one desire is you. And I know ain't nobody else, ain't none. Lost all ambition, we're back straight. I just want to be the one we love. With your admission that you feel safe, I'll let you go until love. Believe me, I hope you want to set the world on fire. I just want to start living your heart. Thank you. Set the world on fire. I hope you want to set.
Hey, y'all. It didn't want to stop. Annalisa, Mary, Tasha, Daniel, Johnny. Who else did I see? Let's see if I can get it to go up. Anthony. Can't forget Anthony. How are y'all doing this evening? It's a crazy time here. I was kind of like really nervous. And then I thought, these are my friends. I'm just going to talk to them. I have been trying to find a cover for that forever. And it just found me. Oh, it's just one of those songs. You know the ladies that used to sit in the lighthouse and wait for their sailor to come home, or yeah, it's something like that. Insane, crazy, whatever you want to call it. It is what it is. So I've been posting some stuff. Hey, Cheryl. I know. I'm trying to just breathe. Thank you, hon. I've been posting some stuff, places that I've found. Man, what was the first one that Mary asked me about? I cannot remember what it was. I don't know. But anyway, the creeks and stuff are a little fuller. We were supposed to have rain all this week, and I guess it moved to Georgia. It disappeared. Or some of the other places that got it. So now we're up in the 90s. It's kind of hot. And gas, how much is y'all's gas prices? Because when I got gas yesterday, it was $3.06. I was kind of surprised with everything that's going on. But anyway, finding that little general store out in the middle of nowhere with all that produce and meat, I was just like, oh, they got everything food you could want. I'm actually thinking about getting some just for the seeds because I know that it's local growers without all the mess in it, you know? 570. Dang. West Coast, they really hit y'all. And that is so surprising to me. They do the same thing in Alaska. 320. Yeah, that's a good price. And Alaska has refineries too. So I don't understand why their gas would be so high. I guess because they can. That's all it seems to be, but yeah, excuse me. That I don't know if the kids have something. we're all kind of allergies and stuff. Be charming, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Auntie, good to see you. Oh, what else has been going on? It just so much. So much that I don't even know what I'm doing. Hey, Meat Puppet, good to see you. Reading legal papers. Yeah, that can make you feel like a blooming idiot. It's like, I'm like, and to try and pronounce the word, there's one word that just doesn't come out of my mouth right. See if I can find it. Fiduciary. I think that's the way you say it. Never heard of it. I have to look up what it means. But, yep. So I'm on the phone talking and trying to say that word, and I'm like, I don't know why it won't come out right. I have a couple of videos I want to share with y'all. I know y'all have heard me say it say it a few times about real men. Well, I think I found one. Not in person. Add a F to the beginning of that B, and then you got it. Fiduciary. F like in Frank. Yep. Okay, let me find him. Ah, here he is. y'all have fun with that. This morning it just wouldn't come out right. I think it's sounding a little more normal now, fully. But okay. Let me. Oh, come on. You know, my laptop that I originally used that just had a blue screen, I was able to get into it, but all my pictures are gone. Everything's gone. So I don't know if I backed it up or I think it's all connected to OneDrive. Hey, John Dunning, good to see you. And I don't know how to get back into OneDrive. If any of y'all know, I would appreciate it. See if I can get this to share. I don't think it's gonna. Dang it. I don't know if I need to switch browsers to do this on or I don't know why I have such a problem sharing. Person who manages property or money for someone else. Yeah, well, Meat Puppet, the login is the problem. I have no clue. And it's not written, well, it could be written down in my passwords because one of the things says and for OneDrive. So hopefully I'll try that. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. Yeah, when you become an executor for someone, that you're gonna see that word. Or just saying. Huckleberry, good to see you. Okay, I think I got it now. You'll see it? I think you see it. Okay, here he goes.
Boys and girls are different. My daughter is beach water. Every day different. Some days calm and clear. Some days churning, boiling, crashing. The only constant for a girl is change. The tides pulling her in directions she never chose. Everyone judges the beach against their expectations. Too rough, too calm, too cold, not what they wanted today. Everyone needs something from the water, comfort, beauty, peace, but no one asks what the beach needs. Her mother, she's the ocean water. She knows those shallow tides because she lived them. But now she faces currents our daughter can't even see yet. Storms that would terrify the beach. Still, she's expected to be beautiful, bountiful, providing everything without receiving. Sometimes they clash. Beach meeting ocean creates massive riptides. Mother and daughter are both water, pulling in different directions, both changing, both under pressure, both exhausted from being everything to everyone. And me? I'm the harbor wall. I don't understand water. I'm stoned. I can't feel the tides. I can't change with the currents. I don't know what it's like to be pulled by the moon, to change without choosing, to be needed by everyone while drowning. But I don't need to understand. I need to be the one thing that doesn't change, the fixed point they can crash against without breaking me, the shelter that's always there no matter how far they sail or how wild the storm. When my daughter storms against me, I absorb it. When my wife's ocean rage needs somewhere to break, she can flood into my harbor and my depths can absorb the chaos, returning it to stillness. Not with solutions, with unshakable presence. I'm not trying to control the water. I'm giving it a container of safety if they need it. They don't need me to become water too. They need me to be the harbor, vast, immovable, always there. That's what fathers and husbands are for. To be the one unchanging thing in a world of constant change. Boys and girls are different. My daughter is beach water, every day different. Some days calm and clear, some days churning, boiling, crashing. The only constant for
I just love the way he says that. The harbor, the one that stands strong through it all, the one that is there to protect and keep calm and doesn't understand the girls going all over the place like we do, but he's still the constant. I agree, B. Hard to find, huh? I've seen a few here in the community. What do we call this? But can I share his link? Yes. Well, I can share the video and then let me go back to it. It's going to start playing again. No, it's not. No problem, Annalisa. I don't know what it's called. But if I drop the link, you'll know what it's for, right? Nope. Wrong button, Bonnie. There we go. Yeah. And then there was another one, and I can't remember what it was about. Oh, this is a good one too. Yeah, I gotta share it too, if I can. Let me work on it. Give me the red line. Are you gonna give me the red line? Let's start at the beginning. Well, okay. Don't give me the red line. D-Dog, good to see you. I'll share this one and then I'll drop the link and see if anyone wants to chat, talk out their concerns, whatever y'all got on your mind. Oh, yes, it is. It's just taking a minute. Patience, Bob. Well, while I'm waiting for that patience thing, it's not gonna do it. Okay, try again. I'm pretty sure I hit the share button. It keeps telling me, hit the share again. I don't know why it always takes twice. Or even 3 times. Okay, now it's fully loaded. So maybe it'll do it. And then it tells me this browser can't access the screen. It's so weird. That's why I had to quit helping people share things, because it didn't even work for me. Excuse me. All right, here we go.
The storm, because the storm was never the problem. Sometimes he lets it rage so he can calm you. That situation wasn't meant to break you, it was meant to build you. See, everybody wants peace, everybody wants clarity, but nobody wants the pain that produces it. But growth don't happen in comfort. Strength don't show up in silence. The storm revealed who you were, but it also revealed who you're not. And that's the gift. The storm stripped the lies. It exposed the weaknesses. It tore away everything fake so God could show you what's real. So don't pray it away too soon. Let it do its work. Let it shape you. Because storms don't destroy purpose, they reveal it. And on the other side of this, you won't just survive. You'll stand different, walk different, believe different. Because when you've been through real pain, you speak with real power. That's why he let it hit you. It was never about the storm, it was about what it woke up inside you. Sometimes God doesn't calm the storm because the storm was never the problem. Sometimes he lets it rage so he can calm you. That situation wasn't meant to break you, it was meant to build you. See, everybody wants peace, everybody wants clarity, but nobody wants the pain that produces it. But growth don't happen in comfort. Strength don't show up in silence.
I can be a witness to that. You learn a lot of things about yourself going through the storm. Sometimes we just need to sit still and reflect and see what our issues are, how we react to things. How much strength it takes to get through the storm. It's like trying to walk through 200-mile-per-hour winds up a hill in the snow. I don't know. I know I couldn't get through it without faith. All right. It's Friday night. Here we go. Dropping the link. And just a reminder, Huckleberry, you're more than welcome to come up on panel. Just saying. So what have y'all, what's up? Y'all got some good news for me? Y'all concerned about anything? Has the world gone crazy? That, oh, dang it. I can't never remember the name of it. It starts with an A. It's not Argentina. I give up. It's a little island that Ivanka and Kushner bought. Thought that was kind of interesting. Huckleberry, did you see what the Supreme Court did with the Second Amendment? That was a surprise. That's it. Albania. Yes. I don't know why I can't remember that. I guess because you don't hear much about it. You know, I can remember a few years ago, something was said about there's going to be something big. You know how people predict, but it was going to come from a little tiny country that no one expected. So when I hear someone say, that one, I was like, take note, just put it in my notes. You thought it was Saturday already? Oh, I got a busy day tomorrow. Don't know if I'll see y'all tomorrow at all, but it depends on how late everybody leaves. Have a huge gathering tomorrow. Mary, I heard the same thing, that, yeah. So the thing with that, actually, I have a video on it, but I wasn't going to get into too serious. Y'all tell me. Oh, what the heck? What's the one that doesn't get serious? Stays calm and just talks about good things. And I'm the troublemaker, I guess. Oh, US beats Australia 2-0 in the World Cup. Sorry, Kim. Well, I'll just tell y'all my opinion. Hey, Eric, good to see you. So, okay. We know these wars have been going on over there for decades, maybe even centuries. Yeah, possibly centuries. Is it me, Cheryl? Because I was having some problems with my mic the other night. Can y'all hear me okay? Am I roboting? I don't know. Anyway, thank you, Huckleberry. There seems to be an alliance. Low volume. I'm turned up pretty high. There seems to be an alliance with the United States and Israel. And so what's going through right now, they're making decisions on, is the NDAA. I think it's section 224. I've seen it 224 and 242. So, but I think it's 224 and 642. I wrote it down. Let me see. Because it's things that I just want to keep up with. Yep. Sections 224 and 622. And so what this would do is combine our militaries. I don't know about y'all, but I am pretty concerned about that. I've seen a lot of people pretty upset about it. I don't think it's a good idea. And I think that's the biggest one that I've been keeping an eye on. Just because it affects everyone. Everyone over there, everyone over here. But then I saw that Obama put this in kind of setting it up when he was in office. And this is just a continuation, adding more to it. So we give Israel, I think it's $3 billion a year automatically. And so it would take the place of that somehow. We wouldn't be giving them money, we'd be giving them armory or something. There's several channels out there that explain it really well. A lot better than me. See, Anthony, but I'm not sure that that's the state of Israel. I think that their leader is from New York. He's not. I don't know. I could really go on. I'm just. I just. It's a scary thought. Yeah, how would that work exactly? The training would be done across the board, like here and there. They would become one army, is the gist of what I'm getting out of it. Exactly, Pat. We have so many things wrong right here. Blue, good to see you. That we just need to concentrate on here first. Let's fix all of this. We've got people battling all over the place against data centers. And oh, I've got that too. Let me read y'all what Abbott's little crumb is. Where did that go? Nope. Email Bonnie. I think it was the news break. Texas. I swear it was in my email. Supreme Court. I already talked about that. I bet this is it. Nope, that's the Texas rancher about the screwworm. I put that on my post. I need man to share that. So this one is saying the real reason Yahoo supports ending U.S. aid to Israel. I don't know what's going on over there. But Texas with the data centers. So because the midterms, elections coming up for us, there's, man, I really wanted to read that to y'all because it has all their names and everything. But this Democrat sounds like he's going to win it. And of course, the cities are falling into they're okay. They don't, They don't care about the data centers. They think that they don't take up the power. So now they're putting solar farms. That's Abbott's demanding that they supply their own energy, their own water source, their own all that stuff. And I guess to some people that sounds really good, but rural Texans are saying no. And they're the biggest supporters of the Conservative Party. So that's probably going to be a huge issue in this election. And it could be a Democrat. Yeah, Pat. Well, how do you do that? You know, realistically, how do you help the homeless? To me, it's us helping the homeless. If any of my friends lose their home, well, there's 3 of them. If one of them gets to where they cannot afford to live on their own anymore, then that's where I can try to help and see what happens. But because I'd love to have a roommate anyway, but with family coming to stay all the time, it'd be difficult. I don't know. I'll cross that bridge when it gets here. But wow, that's great. Quarter inch brain today. It went completely around us, Pat. I was watching the radar. The wind picked up. It was blowing like crazy, blowing everything all over the place. And I could hear a little bit of thunder and then nothing. Yeah, Pat. They keep sending me the little flyers. And vote for this person, vote for that person. And I want to talk to them like I did when I worked at the newspaper. But even then, well, you can kind of tell. But I thought Patrick Rose was a good guy, and he was one of the runners. When the 21 Texans ran off, he was one of them. That was ages ago. They had another group that ran off not very long ago, a few years, maybe. Red River. Does the Red River feed into anything? I have never looked to see where it goes. And does it stay red where it goes? I don't know. I was listening to a lot of the things being found in Texas that date back way further than 250 years, like thousands of years. They were naming all the places. One place is named after it. Is it Great Wall? something Wall, Texas. And they have a wall with drawings from, and what's weird is they said that all of these drawings have been similar all across the United States. And when shown to indigenous people in Mexico, they knew exactly what it meant. Like their ancestors passed down, that's it, Rockwall, Texas. Thank you, Huckleberry. And so they knew all about it because I guess their ancestors tell them the story about it. And that was one of them. There was another one where they, this man was digging a well and ran into huge, I guess they were limestone blocks. And then I found out why they closed Ocarina Springs is because there was an archaeological find underneath the springs. Well, that's what the argument was, Huckleberry, that it, some say it was natural, but oh, really? I don't know. Some of them are, and Ocarina Springs was mentioned a lot because of the springs, and then I don't know. I saved it because I want to go see all these places. Some of it's on private land. People have bought it and they're very protective over it because they know what it means. One of the places, the state owns it, and they only allow 70 people in a day. It was pretty interesting just to see what's going on here. And they just keep finding more and more new stuff when they start digging. Kind of wondering what's going to be dug up out here. There's kind of an interesting spot close to where I'm going to put the shelter, and I have no clue what it is or what it was for. It wasn't something for anything in my family, but it's a perfect circle about 10 inches in diameter, and it has a hole in the middle of it, and it's cement. At first I thought maybe it was a septic system, but I'm not sure what it was. I'm kind of anxious to see if he hits anything or uncovers anything when he digs for the shelter. We had to reschedule that for the end of the month because the morning he was coming to put it in, we had over 6 inches of rain through that night. Hey, Sherry, good to see you. How are you doing up there? Yeah, Houston. I think I saw they were flooding. Did y'all see anything about that? I don't know. That was really weird the other night on Watts when I got the weather alert, and seems they got more of the tropical storm than, well, we didn't get any of it. Can't move on autopilot. Hey, Sean, good to see you. I don't know what you mean by that. I'm sorry, Mary. I know well, I haven't updated the drought map. I keep looking at the drought map to see who's getting the worst of it. Oh. Further up on Trump, about Commander-in-Chief. Well, something was being brought up in Congress or something, and they were trying to stop it, and they were concerned that he was going to pull the Commander-in-Chief card if they voted it down. Sean, come up here and talk to me and tell me why a president can do that. Because from what I understand from the Constitution, there has to be congressional voting and approval. Am I wrong? There's a link. They're just playing us. Well, yeah, I can see a lot of that propaganda stuff. That's what they did with the screwworm. They're blowing it all out of proportion. The ticks, I don't know. I just saw that there was a uptick on the ticks. Congress is ceding their job. What does that mean? Ceding their job. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Bon.
Good to see you.
Thanks. I'm using Brave as my browser, so I guess it's not going to let my usual icon show up, so I'll have to go my settings later to fix that.
You're fine. But so how does this happen?
Well, bear with me for a second. I'm just going to put the caveat out that I won't be on too long. I was flipping through things before I start getting ready for my night shift and saw you were live. So I wanted to pay my respects, my hellos to you and everyone in the chat.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. So the commander in chief responds to we the people, and then the commander in chief being over the military is how we the people direct the military, among a few other interfaces. That's why, like when I was a kid, we'd go on church campouts or scout campouts as I got older as a preteen and teenager and other stuff. You'd have those conversations around the campfire, and the military men and veterans would say, no, you civilians are the highest authority, not us captains and majors and colonels. We the people are at the top of the document, not the bottom. The officers, the people who are put into their positions by an oath to the Constitution, are under that document. That document's the contract that people make for the public servants. So American people keep getting it twisted that Trump rules us. Trump calls shots based on what input he has. If we the people don't give him the input we want, other people fill that vacuum. So when we say, well, Congress will do this or that, Congress is not doing its job. Most of Congress is out of the Capitol running around trying to fundraise for their de facto offices. And to be perfectly fair, that Congress has not been legitimate since it walked out in 1861 on President Lincoln. He never properly reconvened Congress. He put out a martial law, and they never had a proclamation or a declaration that the hostilities between the different states ever ended. We're under a soft martial law, ladies and gentlemen. Your Congress is a polite illusion. It's a de facto Congress. In other words, it's going through the motions because we the people have not gone and taken back the vacant seats and resumed self-government. We have a corporation ruling over us, not we the people. And it's because it's much more convenient to have paid actors do it versus people who would actually leave their business behind, go for a couple of years, do the job, and then come back home. Instead, we'd rather pay a bunch of professional actors in a political sense to make careers out of it. So what you see in C-SPAN and CNN and MSNBC, Trump's almost right when he's saying it's central casting. They used to say politics is for people too ugly to be in show business. Just, food for thought.
So how would one go about telling him, I don't agree with this? And so I know the assembly, but at the same time, can individuals just email, write letters? From what I understand, they say that he reads every letter he gets. Kind of, I don't know about that, but.
Well, that would make you wonder then who in the bubble around him gets between every letter and every email he gets. When the people become the president of this corporation, the commander in chief, and so on, the swamp deliberately, especially with CIA apparatchiks, keep them busy to where they can't even get downtime. Trump's known for sleeping maybe only 3 to 4 hours a night. It's actually come out recently that people will interrupt his sleep at night to disrupt him, basically give him sleep deprivation and chronic sleep deprivation syndromes, just to harass him and to make him make bad decisions, because the swamp does not like him being there. Then they also, again, surround him with attorneys and with guys like Todd Blanche, who prosecuted the J6ers. Those are the guys, and Pam Bondi, who protected Epstein. These are the people they surround him with. And you got to remember, folks, the Republicans and the Democrats were once the Democratic Republicans. They were once the same party, the same money, the same old blue blood money. The Federalists or Whigs, they were done away with when they created the illusion of the Democrats and Republicans splitting up. Those folks still go to the same banks as their great-great-grandparents do to get out their old trust funds and finance their next candidates of choice. That's why they can't have a Thomas Massey. They can't have a Marjorie Taylor Greene. They can't have someone who will upset the apple cart and not rely on them for their old money donations, or what it usually is disguised today is, through PACs and most notoriously in the current era, the APAC.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not trying to get you banned here, Bonnie. So I'm just telling you guys how it is. We the people return to self-governance, It's not just that we assemble and we take a element of governing our counties and our states, what have you. We actually are allowed to have correspondence with Commander in Chief, with the POTUS on that side of the fence. And that's something folks lose track of. You ask, how can you send a letter? You're more than welcome to send a letter doing what you've been told, but I'm not going to come out here and tell you exactly this, and this shortcut for an individual to go and put their Christmas list into Donald Trump's lap. But assemblies, we do have means and ways of doing that. There's even an email service I know of. I'm not going to blurt it out there, but if people know about it, they know about it. That particular email service lets you know when someone's opened your email or if it's in their inbox and how long it's been in their inbox for and so on. You can essentially see what's in their inbox through their tracking of their own emails they sent. So there are ways to make sure people get things every which way. When I talk about publishing notice, and that's in the 10 steps to an assembly at national-assembly.net, you'll notice we say publish it in a nationwide newspaper. We basically make sure you cover all the bases so the other party cannot claim they never received the message. And as I've said to yourself and to Dee and a few others, you got to know on your document or letter or whatever you're working on, you're going to put notice to agent is notice to principal. This way, these folks can't wiggle their way out of, making the letter or the document or whatever disappear unless they want to have hell rain on them for them, imposing that flow of information. And that's really what we got to look at right now is those folks that are around the POTUS. It's been known and leaked out of the Capitol that if Trump drafts something, they'll take it and toss it into a trash bin, or they'll see something coming for him, gets tossed in the fireplace or whatever. They're not giving him correct real-time information, so he's going off very limited info. And if all the people around him are from a certain lobby giving him info that's only good for that lobby, it's gotten to the point where he doesn't want to hear negative information about anything, because they've already gotten him cranky with him not being allowed to sleep. So the people have become complacent, and so you guys have got to fire yourselves up. I got stuff I'll be working on today, tomorrow. One of the reasons I want to be sure I'm ready for work tonight, because when I get off work tomorrow, I'm going to be busy all the way through the day until I go back to work tomorrow night. In other words, I'm talking no sleep. So I must be doing something to justify not taking sleep on a Saturday, huh? So that's the thing. But we all got our lives
too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Take care of your health too. But from what I understand, he chooses the people who are around him.
Not literally. The people there are Republican Party appointees, or they are members who are, this is the swamp, the continuity of government, people who are just like the interns. You don't pick the interns that are at the White House. They're in the White House intern program. It's like, you go apply for a job, and then whoever is the human resource person just approves these people to keep rotating. Well, that swamp has had long-term Democrat and neocon staffers for so long. Trump doesn't get to interview 5 to 100 to 200 to 300 people. You think he's looking at all those resumes? He's not. That's again, we the people being childish and thinking we voted once, that fixes everything. One, we got more than one vote, but two, this process, there's only so many hours in a day a party can have to do things, and Trump screening people to make sure that they're not going to, do things they shouldn't. He's at the G7, if I'm not mistaken, or he's on his way back from it. Okay. All the booking and everything that goes into putting all those leaders into a safe environment where supposedly none of them will get, removed, by way of foreign rivalry, or have their technology intercepted where people can spy on the negotiations, or, the planes run out of fuel in mid-flight. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And we're supposed to believe that, somewhere between, stopping on the tarmac for Fox News and walking into the White House, he suddenly has conducted in that 5 minutes to 10 minutes. You break down your day into time brackets. Somehow that time disappears, and that's the time he should magically spend on reading over someone's resume. It's like, you can't do that. He still has to physically spend that time walking from the tarmac back into the White House. There's only so much And we say that, about ourselves. Like you said, take care of your health, do this, do that,
Yes.
do that. You have to pick and choose and sacrifice what you want to do. And the American people, they're not even, I'm not trying to make light. I'm not happy with the gas prices here in California. I take photos of it to document the up and downs. We were at $7 a gallon. That's not light. Our economy out here has jumped up and prices are through the roof as a result. And so people are getting desperate. And I got to deal with all that. But flip it around, I'm not the one being complacent. I'm grinding on my downtime. Heck, I'm even explaining this to yourself, so your listeners get to hear that. Other folks are like, well, gee, I just want to have a beer and put my feet up and watch, the Super Bowl or watch the NBA or, it's like, yeah, you can have a little bit of relaxation time, but it takes a lot of work on the other end so that someone like you can have that relaxation time. Maybe you put in a grind for a couple of years or something, because I'm seeing a lot of stuff happening out there where people think, you do something, it's one and done. I'll posit it this way, Bonnie. The assembly did a lot of stuff, and then after 2019, we got torpedoed between our issue with the Vatican operatives and the COVID, which were prohibiting people from gathering in public places together and so on. So,
Yes.
that really shook Americans up. And then, people started getting back into gathering in public places, being politically involved, rah, 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 stuff's going good. And then they arranged to remove Charlie Kirk, who was inspiring all the young kids.
Right.
I kind of basically, as the kids, I won't say they're black pilled, but a lot of them basically viewed that Charlie Kirk was kind of like what I'm talking about, where you're using the processes and you're having discussions and debates and you're being peaceful and trying to
Yes.
reach that middle ground across the aisle. I completely agree with that. And I can see a lot of them, the lights went out of their eyes when he got his lights dimmed. And
Yes.
that's where we got to snap out of that. I want justice for him. I want his true murderers to be held to account.
Yep.
I have a feeling they're still going to railroad that kid in Utah. They only paved over the crime scene the next day, or that weekend, excuse me. That was faster than 9/11 getting cleaned
I
up.
was gonna say, when in history has that ever happened where they cover up a crime scene?
Well,
With
usually they did it
this,
to a certain Ford, in Dallas back in '63.
yes,
So,
yes,
when you've seen an op play out enough times, you're watching an op. So that op was basically one of those, hey, if you're too talkative and you turn down this certain lobby's influence, we're going to remove you. Okay,
yeah,
well, we know who the villains are. They've overplayed their hand. Even one of their guys today is from that lobby and from that nation is talking that for every tear of an Israeli, 1,000, women in Lebanon must weep. Or it was some crazy sociologically psychotic math he came up with. And it's like, do you not realize that people in Lebanon, you guys are attacking are Christians of some of the oldest Christian churches, much like the ones in Syria, where you put an Al Qaeda leader in charge of Syria,
yes,
and you guys have destroyed churches in Gaza and Palestine and elsewhere that were churches such as the one in Bethlehem. You guys, they have to cancel
yes,
Christmas services. This is an intentional thing, Bonnie. And until we understand that we don't have to be violent to protect the faith, but we can protect the faith. The pen is always mightier than the sword. The pen is the word is the truth is the sword. That's the sword of justice. It represents truth, represents the word, it represents the word of God. So we need to be willing to use our word, our letters, our voice, but you got to get out of that funk and get that glassy look out of your eye, because you're still punch drunk from them doing that big hit to Charlie. So, I would posit we shake ourselves free of this. We're about to be on the 250th anniversary. They always keep saying we will not last that long as an empire because other empires haven't done it. Well, who says? They say. Who are they? So,
none
thanks
of
for the
them
rant, Bob.
lasted over 250 years.
Fourth turning. They always do the math. 240 years, 80 years as a turning, a generation. So they said Rome, at its peak was around the same. Well, a certain group calls us the new Rome. They want to avenge when Titus destroyed the temple. They want to avenge us. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't know about you, but I don't consider us Rome. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and mute. So thank you for the rant.
Thank you. But I think China and Russia are pretty much a lot older than that. I don't know. And I know I've seen the Senate interview pics, but
Yeah, 5,000 years. But I got to step out for a second, Bonnie. I'll be right back.
okay. But I've also seen Trump just pick who he wants, like Noam, Bondi. Those were his picks, weren't they? No, I'll wait till Sean comes back. Hey, KP, good to see you. Well, I don't know how to get people to assemble as it is in the Constitution. I can't even get 13 around me to assemble. For some reason, that puts I don't know. What do y'all think? What is the reason that people are not assembling? Michigan has, California has, I think Florida and Georgia have. Have a potluck assembly. And that's true, Huckleberry. A lot of them do start out that way. They'll have a dinner together and excuse me, and just kind of talk. Yeah. But it's also knowing the right people to invite to that dinner. True, Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl Bear, good to see you. Been a while. No problem, Sean. Oops. Nope. Uh-oh. Lost my chat. There's my chat. Get back over here. There we go. I don't know people. If I was a good speaker, I'm not. I would be going around doing it that way. And then there's that, Sherry. Good old boy system, alive and well. I'm pretty sure that, well, I know I had seen it before, but I don't know how to get in. There was a Republican meeting, sort of, in the town that I was living in that they would have every so often, but I never could find out when it was. I would ask where they held it. Okay, how do I know when this is going on, and how do I be there? And I never could get any answers. And so it's like, is this a clique that only certain people are allowed in, or I don't know. It's kind of strange here. And that's why I've been trying to work on my close friends, because I know them and they see the issues. But so when Sean gets back, I have a lot to say. Yeah, because the way I see it here, state trumps counties. That's the whole problem, is the government has taken power back to themselves, away from the people. So I'm wondering if it's because everybody just feels helpless, or like their voice isn't going to make a difference. So y'all remind me of those questions when Sean gets back. Sean is a go-getter, and he's a good speaker, and he has access to a lot of people, it appears, or he goes searching for the people. So he's really on the ball with this. I'm not able to do that. And he understands it completely, it sounds like, where I don't. City and county taxes. All I have is county taxes, but oh wow, Pat, that must be nice. The Bahamas. I bet it's pretty down there. I don't know. I'm ready to move south. Way south. Where those conquistadors or whatever it was that Watt was talking about live. A lot of veterans and stuff live down south. Oh, well. Yep. South Carolina. Right, Cheryl. He might have fallen asleep. I don't know where he is. I was very good asleep. I was like, God, wanted to do a live to share those things with y'all, but man, I'm tired.
I'm back. Sorry for the wait.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
have questions.
Well, Matt Gaetz is a good starting point. You brought him up. Yeah, Trump tried to appoint him, and they put it up in front and center. And look what certain lobbies that had set up a honeypot for Gates and his family. Look what they tried to do. They tried to blackmail his father, try to blackmail him, and ultimately that's going to lead to a bankrupting court battle lawfare. So Gates opted not to go that route, and we got Pam Bondi instead. And again, Bondi covered up the Epstein case. Gates was not one of their club. He was going to expose it. So you see, we were that close to having things go right, but everyone sat back. Oh, Pam Bondi's fine. Da da da. We had Elon with Doge exposing everything going wrong, and then oh gee, it was too much trouble, and the people didn't back it. You know, resharing something on Twitter is not backing it. Emulating what Doge was doing, that's backing it. You know, Nick Shirley copied the Doge approach to investigate. Now Nick Shirley's been marginalized.
Yeah.
How many examples are we going to need to copy what's right and what we need to do until the people get that they got to do it? It can't be it just to scale. It can't be just these few government officials doing it when these government officials aren't really there to clip the government per se. They're just there because it's the business to make sure it grows. So we, the people, if we're going to grow this government, we at least got to trim the excess and the waste, fraud, and abuse, to use the cliche. Like someone takes tree trimmers and sculpts the tree so it keeps a nice round shape versus getting all scraggly and growing onto the roof and growing into the chimney. Does that make sense?
Yes, but so, okay, I'm just going to flat out ask it. Do you think Israel is in control of our government?
Do I think who is in control?
Israel.
Only as far as we permit them.
With all the
That's
dual
really-
citizenship and the things that have been going on, it appears that way, you know.
Well, they are trying to run the de facto military governance we have. And if they aren't opposed, then they're going to get it. It's you have to be on the field of battle to be opposition. And too many people want to see the field of battle. And I don't mean that in a violent sense. I mean it in an ideological sense. You know, if you don't go to the courthouse, they put out a warrant for no showing, right? But if you show up in the courthouse, and God forbid you really don't want to do that, but if you do show up there, you can tell them, hey, I'm actually here, not this all caps, straw man. And people are going to go roll their eyes. But up until the bar realized they were screwing up, they actually used to lose that argument because the bar had never heard their own weakness in their system that they designed before. Now they just have judges shut it down so they don't have to realize that they are actually, in terms of rhetoric, incorrect, and in terms of their own laws, incorrect. What they're doing in that case is just using force of arms. Well, we got to examine then, how do we, the people, invoke the force of arms? Oh, wait, commander-in-chief was one mechanism. There's also your county sheriff. I always tell people that because that's easy for people to grasp. And there are other public officials and offices and organizations that take an oath to the Constitution and will respond to their people. And if they don't, you find a different official that does honor their oath. You don't have to reelect your sheriff year after year after year. They can always get someone else to run for office. Just little things to think about. I yield.
Okay, and so Huckleberry's asking, how do we trim the government? It just keeps getting bigger. Votes don't seem to matter. And that's, I understand that statement. It does seem that it's a selection instead of what we really want. Because even with the primaries here in Texas, I'm telling you, I cannot believe that Abbott is going to get a fourth term.
Well, I will posit this. We're still engaging in their de facto system rather than building our own system. You know, that's part of it. But the other element is, okay, we had these election irregularities uncovered in 2020, and we've sat back, and the only person who really kept punching, you know, I'm not saying individuals in here haven't, because we actually, a lot of us are very active or very researched or very involved in sharing information or whatever we bring to the table. But like Tina Peters, she got put in that jail in Colorado, and finally President Trump got her out last month or a month and a half ago as a witness, whatever. But now they're sitting on it again. See, it's enough to, the people will make a ruckus, they hear us, they move, and then we don't follow up. You got to have follow up. You got to have A, B, and C planned out, not just A and B.
Yes.
And
it's like they keep crumbs to okay, this is good, and then
yeah. And if I may, you know, pardoning people like the Proud Boys, to be honest, that implies they were guilty. You accept a pardon if you've been convicted. That's why there were some people who are fighting that. And there's one guy, he actually went what's called pro se. He's one of the J6ers. He went pro se. The evidence he submitted is in the court record, and that is the evidence that can be used now for all the J6ers to get their reimbursement, reparations, whatever you want to call it, from the government for being unlawfully imprisoned. Because one guy actually knew how to do that. And then years ago, there was the guy that was on Diamond and Silk, and knowing how to present, you know, the issues about the straw man and all the rest. He managed to talk his way out of his issue with J6. So two people who, in terms of just knowing the talk, walking the walk, knowing how to use their education to outsmart this corrupt system, 2 out of how many J6ers? And it's not like they're special. They just took the time to read and study and actually maybe, you know, open up a book or two.
yes.
versus just, you know, ask people for donations. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have done that if you were involved in the J6 controversy. But at the same time, picking your battles. If the Stop the Steal rally in December resulted in Antifa disruptions and people being knife attacked and so on, and folks trying to dress up as MAGA supporters and start fights, if that was happening in December, by logic, you could guess it would happen in January. I'm not saying don't show up for your First Amendment, but don't get baited into something that doesn't seem correct. Like, hey, we're just going to go into the Capitol with a mob. That's an easy no, you know.
Yeah.
But that's where someone like a Ray Epps and the guy with the megaphone up at the top of the scaffolding, that's where they come into play, is to try to egg everybody on. Because the psychology of crowd controls, once the crowd's moving in a direction, it's usually easier to go with the crowd than to plant your feet down and oppose the crowd, even though you'd be right to do so, or to not even walk with the crowd, walk opposite.
It turns,
which is what it's what Americans are known for. We used to be the ones who said, no, the British Empire is wrong. No, the Germans are wrong. No, these guys are wrong. We're going to just stand here. Leave us alone. Don't drag us into your world wars. Oh, whoops, you drug us into your world wars. Well, it's on now.
Yeah.
So, and I admit those world wars were caused by false flags, but dadgummit, you get the American people to commit to something, it is literally like a tidal wave, like J6.
Yes.
So,
and that's where I see us heading again with this. Well, I don't know. I think people are more open-minded than they were. They're seeing actual, but man, it takes a lot of discernment, because sometimes what appears to be is not, and what you think is not is. It's really hard to decipher the reality from the what they want us to see.
that's a very good statement. I would I'll give an example, right? What you see is, so far what I've told you with, with what I'm doing with the assembly, so on and so forth. That's fine. That's what you perceive. You kind of said, I know everything. I clearly don't know everything. In the last 72 hours, I watched an old video on John Quaid. He was a guy involved with having a Jural Society out of the Los Angeles area, and he lived up in Palmdale, Lancaster. And I thought, okay, cool. He's just some guy who's a expert on the Constitution and common law and all that. And he's an actor who was with Clint Eastwood in some movies, and kind of the golden era of Hollywood. And that was like my limited knowledge. Plus, I couldn't find anything about his estate or his wife. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I must be doing this wrong. So I re-examined one of the videos I liked of his. Trying to remember the first name. I always blank on the first name, but it's a Something Valentine show, and it's a radio talk show.
Mhm.
And it's him talking about his Jural Society, which later we, came very early in. He references the Michigan Jural Society. Well, that became the Michigan General Jural Assembly that you see on the National Assembly website. So when
Yes.
you talk about that, it's like I can show a link. When you want to say you're the first and one of the best, I can show that with videos, evidence from the 90s and early 2000s. Then from that, I'm like, okay, he drops references. So I've looked up those references about different military manuals and things like that. I'm going to read those later, mainly for a scholarly goal, not because they're necessarily assembly issues. And people are going to say, well, why wouldn't you want to read them for the assembly? Because military being the only way, that was QAnon. That was incorrect. If the
Yeah.
military does everything for we the people, we are not self-governing. It's the civilian government that must rule. The military is just the enforcement arm of the civilians. The militia comes from the people assembling and saying who wants to go take up arms today versus who wants to have a jury today, who wants to be drafting a letter to King George today. That's self-governance, not these guys who are paid to live on base year round because the rest of the world's doing it. And guess what? Now we have a budget because I will test from having done it. You're out in 29 Palms, and what are we going to do today? Nothing. We're going to go dig holes. What are we going to do after lunch? We're going to fill the holes back in. That's your 8 hours of work for the day. That's
But
Uncle Sam's at his finest, ladies and gentlemen, spending your money, because if God forbid we don't spend it, we may not get it in next year's military budget that keeps growing. So
Yes.
there's a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse we can track down. The military recycles all the brass that we spend on the firing ranges. Good. We should take all those jackets and round them up and put them back into containers. But here's the thing. Then we make sure we station people to guard them, because God forbid the homeless take it and go recycle the metal so they can have a meal. And God forbid they get into our dumpsters for our chow halls. I literally see dumpsters full. I had this detail one day. It was a range day, and then we came back to the chow hall, and I volunteered to go ahead and have the detail of standing, just watching the dumpsters of the chow halls are emptying out after every big meal. If you
Mhm.
imagine a truck trailer, like a delivery truck trailer, comes to a grocery store, you know,
Yes.
the ones you put on the back of a train that are metal with the corrugated steel and all that. Imagine one of those every day from every chow hall at that time being full of food that is deemed no longer available to the public. The military overspends so that in times of war there will not be shortages. How about they spent for what was accurate, and then in times of war they could go back to overspending? They're not going to do it, but I'm just giving you guys a scale of what
Yeah.
waste there is out there. And that food that gets dumped in those dumpsters, they could have packed it up with foil and saran wrap, or even freeze dried it, put it in little zippy lock type bags, and fed
Yeah.
the local homeless. They don't do it. So
Or even,
our founders did not intend that. Our founders intended for every American to know how to handle a musket and convene at the town square once a month, go through drill, and know what to do. But
mhm.
we're not willing. How many people are willing to be in their local militia? Let's put my assembly stuff on the side. Are you willing to be in your local militia? Not just some guy who LARPs with his firearms and goes to the range. Do you and your neighbor and the next neighbor know that if someone's coming down the street, you guys set up intersecting lanes of fire, and you also set up, obstacles to make the invaders perhaps wander their way into those intersecting lanes of fire, versus they're being able to fan out and you have to pick them all off individually and, have more of a running battle. I mean, there's just, different tactics. People don't know until they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And going back to the military manuals and stuff that John Quaid was citing, yes, there are times where under martial law or the military is doing something, like when Blackwater has civilian contractors accompanying the military into Iraq. Yes, sometimes you can have a court martial on civilians. That's appropriate, but in those rare and few occasions. And what they've been managing to do for the last 10 years is get everyone to think the military is going to do court martials on all kinds of civilians and all kinds of talking heads. No, that's on us. We get with our sheriff when we assemble at a county level and we find someone in our county is a bad actor, we take care of them. If several sheriffs find that, throughout the counties that these people are bad actors, they put the warrants out in those counties. It might be patchwork, but it's one way to do it. That's why we tell you to have an assembly in your state level so you can address your governor. This is just one of the many reasons. So the governor can have a uniform, instruction apply across the state. That, a lot of this is a matter of having knowledge down the line, but also having the knowledge and thought of logic. If patchwork is not good for you, and a lot of times it isn't, you would have the governor and his state troopers as the backup to go across the state and cover the state lines. I'll pull back to something I was talking with someone earlier today. There was a person who he had been in Hollywood and he'd been a movie actor for Native Americans in a couple of movies, including Dances with Wolves. This guy was trafficking children, and he would hop into the reservations and use that as his cover. He was hopping from Indian reservation to this reservation, that reservation. Sometimes he would be trafficking children when he was doing it too.
Oh my goodness.
One of these reservations had enough of that. They're like, no, this is evil. We're not going to put up with it. They invoked on their reservation soil their sovereign rights to come together. They looked into what their limits were with their reservation and the U.S. government and what they could and could not do in terms of enforcement. And essentially, they were able to ban that guy from their reservation. And hopefully they are sharing what they did with other reservations throughout the country. So he'll be excluded at least from native land. And then in the regular jurisdictions across the country, hopefully local law enforcement and sheriffs eventually catch this guy up. And that's a case. I know, Bonnie, if Dee was on the line, Dee would probably be familiar with the case I'm talking about because we've referenced it, me and her and a few other folks that have Native American ties and things. We've talked. It's kind of like one of those cases of it's kind of Hollywood famous, but not top of the list famous.
Right. And
so
if he's going on to a reservation, they have their own law, and from what I understand, regular law cannot intervene.
Not so much regular law, but in the sense that if the reservation is sovereign, you got to respect the sovereignty of the tribe on that land, so that like the FBI can come up to the border of the land and say, hey, we're working with you, you work with us, can you hand this guy over? And then it would be up to the tribe. And usually the tribe would be like, yeah, we don't know him, he's a pain in the butt. But if he's one of the Native American people who's supposed to be there out of that tribe, they might be like, we think you're lying, we're going to try him ourselves, or we're going to do this, or we're going to invoke the protection that he's on sovereign land. All those raves in the desert in the Southwest, Burning Man and things like that, guess what? They're on tribal land. That's why the people are able to do so many drugs there, guys. It's under their whole religious experience thing. That stuff got exposed here in California about 15 years ago. It was before the QAnon stuff took off, where a sheriff, a deputy, his daughter had gone to one of those raves, and the price of water, at these concerts is like anywhere from $7 to $15 a bottle for a bottle of water. She had no water.
Goodness.
She was on ecstasy. She was on ecstasy or whatever and overheated, and nobody would give her any water, and she died there in the desert. So he was investigating all that and finding out that, they use these Indian reservations as basically like island hopping for drug smuggling, from anything from ecstasy to methamphetamines to cocaine. So you'll see the narcos often try to infiltrate the reservations. So when we, the people, assemble and have sovereign power, we also have to keep in mind that we will have to deal with the reservations because they are their own sovereign lands. And I even discussed like the mechanics that basically their reservation's representative would be like an equivalent of, or their reservation would be like the equivalent of a county in an assembly, and some of the other mechanics that go with that. And that goes to show you that, sovereign people in this context can be good or they can be bad. And because they allowed the narcos in the Southwest to kind of compromise their leadership, and oh, wait, we got all these casinos now. I wonder how you launder money in a casino. Very
Yeah.
easily. And those casinos are paying into the Riverside Board of Supervisors campaigns, like Kevin Jeffries, who's no longer in politics. I wonder why.
Well, I
I'm just
haven't
saying.
ever since January 6th because there was a huge presence of Native Americans at J6 also. And
Yeah, except they only photographed the one guy with the buffalo hat many
Right.
times.
And I don't even know that he was Native American.
He's
But
not. He's Norse. That tattoo on his abdomen. There's a lot of pagans that are involved in the military and in government psyop work that believe, they're like heirs to Thor and Odin and all that pagan stuff, which, by the way, permits for human sacrifice as well. Hence, Burning Man. And
Yeah.
they're not. I wouldn't say they're satanic, but they're kind of close to it in their own conduct. So you look that feller up. He's quite a interesting guy. I'm just going to leave it at that.
But
I don't want to get a defamation suit, but him being featured and having cameras following him around, if that doesn't spell psyop to you guys, what does?
yes.
Go ahead.
But I'm seeing more of the Native Americans speaking up against
Yes, they
what's
should be.
going on also. Like, they're not just living in their own little world there and not paying attention. They are. They're paying attention. And
Well,
they're
they have so much more to lose than those of us that are in the mainstream, I guess you could call it suburbs and cities, because their
yes.
lands sit on a bunch of minerals and water and other resources. And they also use their lands to do, I don't want to say experiments, but let's just say I still have a T-shirt with a red handprint on it. It was a fundraiser to keep track of all the Native American women who go disappearing, if you know what I mean.
Yes. A lot of that is happening also.
When you have places that are kind of compromised and their own self-governing territories, and you need women for experiments on human genetics and more scandalous things, you got control groups right there.
Yeah.
That's supposedly one of the logics the government uses about the Amish. They don't mess with them because they want to think of them as a control group, and that here's what people who are perfectly healthy and don't interact will do. We can study them from afar. And that's perfect for me because during COVID, I was like, how many Amish people got COVID? None. There you go. You live like the Amish, you don't get COVID. In other words, turn your TV off, folks.
Oh, got another.
Go out. Oh, we got another on the path. Johnny Poderosa.
He is
Johnny P. DeRosa.
He's in California also.
Excellent.
Hey, Bunny.
Welcome.
Hey,
Hi,
Skyler.
John. This is Sean Stryker.
Oh, Striker. Sorry, I didn't read that. Small. The name is small. Sorry, Striker. Sorry, I thought it was Skyler.
No worries. So let's go back to the tribal thing, though. Okay, what if the tribes got together and elected someone to Congress, and that's happened before, what have you? But then say, the president wants to pick that person, maybe the head of the American Indian Affairs Bureau, or they want to put them on this task force or the other, and that guy's got to go in front of Congress. Now, he's going to be, interested in his people, whether he's Cherokee, Seminole, Ute, Blackfoot, Creek, whatever. And all of a sudden there's this lobbyist saying, hey, we want you to pledge fidelity to our country that's not even in the United States. Or if not, we're going to, make up a rumor about you and some girls on the reservation that could partially be true because maybe your reservation had that politics going on. Maybe you had nothing to do with it, et cetera, et cetera. Like a good example, I'm going back to Matt Gaetz. Gaetz is from a Florida county that is known for a lot of sleaziness. But in Gates's case, again, it wasn't even really him. It was his father that they were trying to scam. and he just didn't want to get his parents, screwed over. So did we the people sleep on that? Kind of. And the left had a field day too, tearing him down and, saying he was sleeping with underage women, or children, however you want to spin it. And, this same Gates was basically wingman with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was the other kind of America First type person that was out there being vocal. And they eventually silenced her too. And now, if you've noticed, they've gotten, Tulsi Gabbard to resign. And they're getting on RFK Jr. And he had a reverse course on a few things. If people can't see that we the people, if we don't stay involved, if we don't stay constantly on this issue, it's the whole, you give someone an inch, they take a mile. The second you turn your head, oh, look, Iran. Meanwhile, everything in the back door gets rushed in, The National Defense Authorization Act for 2027, Section 224, merges our military intelligence with another nation's military intelligence, along with our arms production and technology, and it's real bad. And so we've been raising a kerfluffle over that. Lo and behold, people in Congress are trying to insert that type of legislation into other bills because that lobby is panicking that we're not going to marry ourselves to their military and we're going to leave them high and dry, which, to be honest, we should. So,
We should.
if we the people sit on our thumbs for these next couple of weeks, everything will go right back to what it was before this MOU was drafted. And I even pointed out on the War Room with Rex Jones hosting. I've had some back and forth with Rex. We usually have a good 5-minute conversation versus the 2-minute conversation. I pointed out to Rex that, Rex, when you draft really wonky legalese into a title of a document, it usually means that it's worthless. It shows that it doesn't have any weight to it. A good example, and I point this out because people have done this and they didn't realize this back during Sidney Powell and everybody else trying to fix election integrity. Oh my gosh, I signed an affidavit of truth. Okay, so an affidavit is signed off under penalty of perjury, which means it has to be truthful by nature. So why do you have to add to the title of truth on it? Is there any other type of affidavit in existence? Is there an affidavit of lies? No. So by titling your document as such, you are implying that the person who signed it is a moron because they don't even understand what an affidavit is and that it stands prima facie as a four corners document, complete, unique, and finished within its own confines and your own signature, again, under penalty of perjury. Now, right. Sidney Powell, guess what she left out of her affidavits for everybody? Under penalty of perjury. That's why they were all dismissed. She was General Flynn's celebrity military JAG lawyer, but she couldn't even draft a document to mass produce to the U.S. people to have us, rally to her cause for President Trump. She couldn't even do it right for him, but she could do it right. She could do things right for General Flynn. Just food for thought. Now, this memorandum of understanding with Iran and the U.S. So it's not a pact. It's not a treaty. It's not anything but a memorandum of understanding. Would you sign off on something you don't understand? Colloquially speaking, not in the common law sense, but would you sign off on something you don't understand? Would you sign something you don't comprehend? Would you sign something that you don't grasp?
Nope.
Precisely. They created a document that's in a gray area. It's legalese and a bunch of hush and slush. Oh, combat has to stop in Lebanon. The U.S. is not attacking Lebanon. It's Israel attacking Lebanon. So how are we supposed to make a party, not party to the memorandum, stop doing the attacking unless we pull their leash?
Exactly. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Correct. I guess, again, today there was already some pot shots going each way.
Yeah.
But the point, and BB, as that thing was going down yesterday, he decided he'd carpet bomb 150 different targets in Lebanon because he's just a sociopathic person. Go ahead.
Do you think Yahoo has something over Trump to...
I'll explain that chain of custody of evidence in a moment. Thank you for asking. That's actually very pertinent.
Okay.
I want to express this whole memorandum issue in a different context, in that if we have this memorandum of understanding, I continued with Rex, and it's in a gray area. I'm referencing his Gray Area Talks channel and show on YouTube. I'm like, and I know you'll love that reference. Think about this, Rex. Why don't we sign with Iran a pact that we will do the repairs in Iran, and that any attack on any of our repairmen, our crews, our equipment, or any Iranians involved in that effort is considered an attack on all. It's a mutual two-way defense pact. And if a third party attacks, both parties, Iran and the US would be in this case, would then be right to declare war on the initiating attacker. This would be Israel. See, that could put some fear of God into Israel, pun intended, versus just, oh, we're going to not shoot at each other and we're going to give you reparations and billions. Make it where, hey, we're not just going to deliver it to you. We're going to participate in this process. And if anything happens to it to sabotage it, we'll team up and defeat the attacker. Now, the reason I posit this is because it's still a win-win. All these big contractors with heavy construction equipment and real estate development and, raw metals and all that. Guess who owns those companies? BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. So Israel would still get a win out of it. They just have to not kill anybody. Pretty easy win-win for all. But genocidal people that want to have a Greater Israel project, they might, just disagree with that. So Greater Israel project, how do you control the world leaders to make sure they give you what you want? Because it's always been in the books ever since the Rothschilds staked their claim on Palestine with the Balfour Declaration. Our little boy Jeffrey was quite the character, but if you remember Ludnick, or however you pronounce his name, the guy who's Trump's commerce secretary, the guy who said, oh, me and my wife, we were offended by Epstein, we never were involved with him. And then within a couple of weeks, he's caught in a lie that him and his wife took their kids to the island for a 1 hour picnic. You go all the way over there for a 1 hour picnic. That sounds really sus. So that really makes you wonder what else they're hiding. So when Trump says his friends would be embarrassed, well, let's not forget too, Trump still considers Bill and Hillary friends. A lot of them would be embarrassed. See, Trump's guilt is that he's trying to cover up and trying to flex like he's, got the blackmail on them. But like they said with Nixon, the cover up is worse than the crime itself. So you're going to say, well, how does that put leverage on Trump? Epstein worked for Mossad. And Mossad has usually worked for the conservative element of Israel. So when Bibi says it's the left in Israel, he's full of it on that regard. Bibi's crew that, was doing this and running Mossad like that, it's the same crew that was running Israeli intelligence during the 9/11 era and the era going back. We can go far back with this on the tree of spy works and all that. And even Trump's mentor, Cohen used to set people up on the East Coast political scene with honey traps and, drugs and women and stuff drinking. So it's not like this is not something Trump understands. And because he understands it, he knows not to get wrapped up in it himself personally. He knows to kind of sidestep it, but he's still trying to keep it, under wraps. Even, the very system that hates him and wants to get rid of him, he's still trying to protect it because he has that need that he wants to be, on cool terms with everybody. And it's like, nope, Trump, these people still hate you. And even if you make them like you and, they hate it, like the Mitt Romney reference, they're still going to be plotting against you. He would be better off to actually be more despotic in the sense of like a Franklin Roosevelt or an Abraham Lincoln and just start issuing the warrants and arrests that everybody calls for. He's not going to do it, though, because when we go to the blackmail operation of the Epstein network, Chase Manhattan was the bank that Epstein did business with. They were taking fines for covering up his money laundering. And big drum roll, ladies and gentlemen, Chase has 13 trillion with a T in the derivatives market. So those executives at Chase who were implicated with Epstein, all that board of directors has to do is flip the switch, take all those trillions of derivatives out of the world market, and the financial market collapses.
But
Not just in America, but the world. So there you go. That's the blackmail. Trump wants to be known for an economy, not for a depression. Go ahead,
Stryker.
Mr.
Well, let's add one thing about that. Chase, isn't Chase from San Antonio, Texas, or somewhere in Texas? The bank Chase.
Chase, Manhattan, and stuff, they eventually absorbed J.P. Morgan. It became J.P. Morgan Chase. I still call them Chase Manhattan out of a project. So to me, banks don't even have a location anymore. They're all electronic, you know? They all have their servers and stuff in the cloud with the transaction information. So even if we were to say, if they're based in Texas, yeah, you might be able to shut down activity at the Texas branch. But what about the New York branch? Or what about the Florida branch? And I bring that up because guess what? That's one of the arguments they used about the Epstein case, is that it was in different jurisdictions. You couldn't prosecute this and that. And even scarier is Epstein created his own bank on his little island in the Virgin Islands. That was that bank was used as the bank to create the Clinton Foundation. This is why people involved with the Clintons disappear, is when you start getting to how dirty this is. People think Epstein was like under the Clintons and under Trump. No, they came to him for banking. He didn't go to them. He was the stand-in for Rockefeller at the CFR and eventually took over as the head of the CFR. So this little putz, who was a child sex trafficker and a mad scientist, also weaseled his way into one of the most powerful spots in world politics. And at the same time was feeding all of his knowledge and data back to Israel. So Israel, if he was ever gone, would be on top.
Yep.
Quite the dutiful servant he was. Did I answer your question, or did I kind of sidestep it? If I did, I apologize.
You answered my question. So what do you think about Trump talking about pardoning Maxwell?
Well, that's just dirty politics. That's just dirty politics, because that's the same, it's not on the scale of, say, you pardon the J6ers who walk through velvet ropes. There's symbolism in that. This is the politics of he pardons a Mossad agent and hopefully they leave him alone. But they won't leave him alone. Ghislaine's sister, if I'm not mistaken, works for cybersecurity, either at the FBI or an SA or something like that. So their family's still interwoven into our politics, no matter what we do. That's when they called this the swamp, referring to DC. It wasn't like you need waders that go up to your thighs. With this, you need like bib overalls, because the crap in that city goes all the way up to your neck. And it's not even the city of we the people. Remember, it's its own sovereign city state.
Yes.
So it's a mess. Bonnie, just so you know, StreamYard has me down to 10%. So I'm going to plug in my charger while we talk. If my phone waffles, it's because of the charger. So I apologize ahead of time.
Okay. No problem.
Didn't they try to make DC the 51st state, like a 51 state, the 51st?
They tried to make it a state, but I don't know how that was shut down.
Well, from this side of the world, they're also trying to make Puerto Rico into a state, and anything they can do to add more states means more senators and more congressmen. And because those are liberal areas, they want Democrats to, of course, anything to get that lead, just like more Democrat Supreme Court justices, more Democrat senators, the whole redistricting fight you're hearing. We have enough. We don't really need to be doing redistricting. We don't really need to be doing new states. We need to get the people educated on good versus evil and preserve and conserve, pun intended, the good, and prosecute and arrest and defeat the evil. I hope that helps.
Yes. And it's all of it. They go out to dinner together. They're all together. I don't know.
Sometimes you actually do got to go to that, mafia style dinner and, hey, I wish you luck and success in your future endeavors. And if something were to happen to you, it would greatly grieve my heart. Meanwhile, in the back door, you got your hitman loading up his Tommy gun, So, that's kind of the nature of that beast. If you notice, Trump's always verbally been nice to people. He always overplays I think he's a swell fellow. Meanwhile, his DOD goes right after them or whatever. So, go ahead.
You mentioned they were going after RFK Jr. Who do you think's going after more? You think the Republicans are going after him or the Democrats?
Well, it's not. Both those parties don't like RFK Jr. because RFK Jr. his family is that he's in a unique spot. You know, his wife is former CIA or whatever, or his campaign head, whoever that chick was that was involved with the MAHA, the Maha. So or maybe it's his daughter. I forget. I know he has CIA fingerprints all over him because also his dad and his uncle, you know, with the JFK assassinations, you know, the alliance between the Kennedys and Trump is something they fear because it would bring the constitutional conservatives and the blue dog Democrats together. And I spoke about this many a time that they are going to try to create that wedge. Remember, the Kennedys are notoriously Catholic. Trump leans evangelical, which means he's going to be more, you know, partial towards Israel. So they've been trying to split up MAGA by throwing the Israel Catholic divide at us for a long time. And I'm not siding against Israel because it's Israel and I'm a Catholic. I'm very, you know, against Rome. But I do understand, you know, if anything, I might lean towards Greek Orthodoxy as an apologist for them and not even as a catechumene. I'm just someone, I like that they're in charge of the historical sites. We all, as people, have a right to our history, regardless of where we're from. And only two cultures I know of are blatantly destroying history from the Levant, history from the Middle East, whether it's for warfare or jihadi activity. It's been the Muslims and the Jews blowing up all the religious sites, while the Christians are always, you know, nodding in the basement, or excuse me, kneeling in the basement, praying, hoping it'll pass them by. Sometimes you can't kneel and pray for a bomb to pass you by. It just incinerates you. So, you know, the Christians of the world, a billion plus of us, and the Pope's not calling for this. That's where Rome has been wrong for a while. Rome's popes have all been, oh, we got to embrace these refugees as they kneel on us and cut our face up, you know, or as they try to behead us. No, Rome, you had walls built around the Vatican for a reason. We know you're on the take. We know all roads lead to Rome. That's that whole beast in itself. It's the three-way secret society dance between Rome, the Masons, and the Kabbalists. So the trick of them, they have their little three-way war and their rivalries and keeping everything unbalanced. Fine, you guys stay in your box. We the people are going to get together over here, build our own system, and our system doesn't need you. Go away. And if
Really,
you
the
don't,
Masons?
so
You had the
Freemasons.
Masons to that? Wow.
They convened to get out from under the thumb of Rome, but they allowed Adam Weishaupt, a Jesuit, to create the Bavarian Illuminati and infiltrate them. That led to the Jacobins during the French Revolution. Basically, socialism crept into Freemasons, and I've noticed wherever there's a Masonic lodge, within 1 to 2 generations, your community starts going socialist and Democrat. I regrettably have 2 Masonic lodges here in the city of Riverside, California, one in downtown and one about less than 5 minutes downhill from me. If you go down Central Avenue where I live, you make a left turn, and there's the Evergreen Masonic Lodge, which I notice doesn't exactly have cars in the parking lot during daylight hours. How convenient. I guess nobody there works a 9 to 5 as a secretary. That's humor, by the way, folks. Let's just say when I was a youngin and working at the Rite Aid Thrifty ice cream counter, and you know, you're serving ice cream, you see all these guys with their rings coming in, kind of like, yeah, these guys think they're special. They got a ring and they're in a club. And then you have the Knights of Columbus, who are what are they? They're the Freemasons for the Catholics.
Yes.
You know, it just, go ahead, Bonnie.
They will defend each other. I was in an accident where the vehicle behind me ran over my car when I was making a left-hand turn. And he didn't have his license or anything with him. It took 45 minutes for an officer to get there, and it happened to be a DPS officer. And once he saw the ring, because he was wearing one, he said,
Yep.
well, I'm going to let somebody go to your house, to the guy that ran over me, and get your license and all your stuff. And then when it went to court, that DPS officer sat up there and lied.
If I may, he lets the guy go to the house. The guy has time to go home, get some coffee, take a piss, and sober up. That's how you cover up the alcohol in the blood test. See how that works?
Yes.
Detox. Good old detox.
Oh yeah, we had a incident out here, if not, but for a not Chief Diaz, Riverside Police Department chief, good fellow. My local neighborhood watch, community watch that we were conducting down the block. He came and gave talks to us. That's cool. And the chief before him would do it too. And that chief I was okay with, but that chief decided one night, he's at Club 215, which is a topless bar. He's watching football, drinking beers, and he's going to go drive home after drinking beers. So that already sounds sus, but he was also on painkillers for his back because he had back injury. So he wound up going down. It's Victoria Avenue. It's like the historic avenue here in Riverside with big old citrus estates and mansions and stuff. And his car actually gets a piece of the rail on the side of the road and it's dragging it and sparking it. And like, I guess one of the wheels is running on its rims and stuff. And he just doesn't realize, he's got police cars trailing him and all that. So the chief of police for the city of Riverside, and you guys can look this up, he's pulled over and they're going to let him go home, this, that, and the other. And they essentially were trying to do that. But the 911 dispatch operator actually kept the report and filed the 911 call and everything in the correspondence. And it came out. So as a result, that chief of police had to step down and resign. And Chief Diaz was put into his place. Amazingly, Chief Diaz, of course, that's when the start of the Riverside Police Department becoming woke started, because how dare a Latino police chief, crack down on a criminal element. And at the same time, California passed the law about if they're not shoplifting over $900, they don't have to be arrested, blah, blah, blah. Now, back in 2024.
$950, but close enough. It's close enough.
Yeah. But we flipped it. 2024, we voted again to make that into a class 2 felony for burglary and shoplifting and all that. Now the police out here don't even want to enforce it. So it's like, we gave you guys back the tool, but whoops, because they're woke, they don't want to enforce it now. They just lie that they can't do it. So my point is that all those cops, except for that 911 dispatcher, thought it'd be okay to say to the chief of police, hey, boss, hey, chief, you're part of our club. We get it. You're drunk. You're on painkillers. You were at a topless bar and you struck the side of the road and were sparking and dragging it with you past Victoria
What year was
Bridge,
that?
2 lanes.
Striker, I think I remember that.
Yeah, it's been in the 2000s, pre 2016. So I am going a little bit back here.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah,
my point on that. You remember
Yeah.
Anthony Silva, the Stockton mayor? He almost got caught for something like that. He actually took out his card and said he was Donald Trump because he was so drunk.
Yeah,
Anthony Silva, the mayor of Stockton.
Yeah. Now, my point about a cop, though, where all the other cops were considering, they should not. It should be justice for all. They should be like, hey, chief, I'm sorry, I got to cuff you and book you. You're clearly under the influence. We'll sort it out once you're in the drunk tank. No, that wasn't their plan. Their plan was they're going to let him go home. So that the resignation basically killed all the controversy, but he should have been investigated just like anyone else. Another example was my city council member. He was having a campaign for his seat, and a fellow who was a rival of his running against him. He's out for his late night jog. And Councilman Melendres' wife, oops, she's in the minivan and she just accidentally strikes a guy on the side of the road for his late night jog. Turns out to be the rival, by the way. Hits him with a minivan. It's a horrible thing. She pulls over. And so the police are there, and the sheriff's department's not contacted. And under the rules for this city, the police department, because the city council controls their payroll, they're not to investigate themselves. They're supposed to bring in the sheriffs. Well, they decided they'd go ahead and break their own rule, and they led the investigation to say, the councilman's wife had no wrongdoing, blah, blah. And long story short, Mr. Melendres stepped down in disgrace because, again, the cover-up's worse than the crime. But that it goes through these people's heads that they could even attempt to cover up, that they should even try to cover up, versus, hey, I'm Officer so-and-so. We got a city council member here. We need to look at this as a jurisdictional issue. Let's bring the sheriff in and have them examine it. It's simple. Check and balance. There you go. But they don't do it because it's them versus us. It's their clubs versus us who are unorganized. So, Bonnie, I've been ranting. You want to follow up with anything?
And that is the whole thing. We are not organized. even when you look at these other countries, they are organized. They can pull 1 million, 2 million people out in the streets and nothing flat. And when I see some of them, it's just all men out in the streets. And so I don't know what it would take, what the line is here, or if it is it because of all the enforcement. Nobody wants to go to jail. I don't know.
Well, sometimes them putting a person in jail actually starts the case off and investigates things. But for a person to fall on their sword, sometimes I don't want to say that's anything I encourage, but I'm going to
No.
go back to a speech from John Quaid. I've paraphrased it before, and it is a very telling speech, not just referencing the assemblies, but the mindset and the way things worked and the way things actually do work. So he was explaining the Black Robe Regiment, which were the ministers and the preachers who argued that America should rebel against King George because King George thought he was God. And by the way, the King of England was also the head of international Freemasonry at that time, still is. They're also a Prince Elector to the Pope. Again, all roads lead to Rome. So going backwards to King George and the founders of the Black Robe Regiment, after the Revolutionary War, you didn't have any of the Black Robe Regiment left. This is when the Judeo-Christian churches pop up that keep trying to emulate the Jewish temple because of Freemasonry. But also, this is because the British made a point to hunt down each and every one of those ministers, preachers, and to destroy their family, their well-being, and of course their lives, including and up to firing squads and so on. These Black Robe Regiment ministers, just like the signers of the Declaration of Independence, knew what they were doing was not going to be looked upon well by the British. And, because they were encouraging their ecclesia, their church assemblies, their bodies to get up out of the pews with them. And just as they took off their ministerial robes and had their Minutemen uniforms on underneath their revolutionary attire, their muskets, their, little satchel of gunpowder, their hardtack biscuits, and all that. They told their people, you trust me as your minister and in affairs between God and man, so follow me. And the colonists did. And when we come to those different incidents, Lexington and Concord, you remember there was a church house involved, one light in the church house, if by land, two if by sea, Paul Revere, the British are coming, etc. And, the shot heard around the world. Well, this happened many a time in which those colonists with the leaders of the Black Robe regiments, they would stand in front as the leaders, as the officers, the brevet officers, as the militia leaders. So those men of God, those preachers, be they Quaker, Episcopalian, Catholic, Anglican, whatever, they were in the front line, up in front, and they weren't going to fire first. They told those British, you're not welcome here. You need to disperse. And actually, British officers being the way they are, you kind of see it like in the movie The Patriot. Their attitude, if the people are not going to disperse, ready, aim, fire. That'll disperse them. So that means they were willing to fire on men of God first and foremost. And the men of God were willing to have the steel of resolve and courage and heart to be the first ones to be killed. What do you think that did to the colonists? You killed their preacher. You killed the one who baptized their children. You killed the men who taught them between right and wrong. Essentially, secondary father figures to them.
Mm-hmm.
Do we as Americans, as John Quaid was asking in his lecture back in the 90s, do we as Americans have that type of resolve to understand that we have to stand like those men of God between the evil state, the globalist empire? It's just the British Empire with a different name and a different six-pointed star as its a flag at the moment. Are we going to stand between their musket balls and our people? Some of us aren't going to make it, but you have to stand. Otherwise, those who are behind us are who they're going to shoot for. And they're already
Yes.
doing it. They've already got some of our kids. Some of our kids are never going to have children now because of them.
Yeah.
And it's not even, it would benefit them if they would let us be a free people and just run our corporations and leave us alone. But they can't do it. When you have a demonic spirit, you cannot allow success to happen, even if you're on top of the success. You don't want to be Boss Hogg. You want to be like, to paraphrase Alfred in the Dark Knight, the Chris Nolan film, some men want to see the world burn. So they have all the power, and then they just want to destroy the base that built them their power, because they think there'll always be a base that will support them. Until we pull that base out from underneath them and put them back in their box, because that's what it ultimately goes to. Somebody winds up in a box. The question is when, and did they get there in a righteous way or an irrighteous way? I'll let you guys decide that. I'm going to have to get ready for my, I call it my 9 to 5, but there's a place that needs me to put eyes on, watch some cameras, and make sure nobody's taking from others what doesn't belong to them in the 3D world. So, and then I get to tell the police officers, officer, I had this guy for 30 minutes, but your slow response. Well, I still have him. Do you want to pick him up, or shall I keep him in this arm bar for about another half hour? I have done that before. I have done that with a suspect in front of the Dollar Tree. Eventually, me and the manager were like, yeah, they're not showing up. I let them go, and the Riverside Police Department slow rolled into the parking lot about 45 seconds later.
Oh, wow.
That is the difference. We, the people, can do a citizen's arrest. And you know what? We'll actually hold on to these people these days longer than the cops will.
Yeah. Are you allowed to zip?
I was going to say that suspect never came back to that Dollar Tree, by the way. Just saying.
Well, I really appreciate you coming up and answering a lot of my questions.
Oh, Bonnie, you got my email, you got my phone number, and you told me you moved recently, which moving's a new beginning and stuff. So you can look back in the past. You were in the Austin area, if memory serves, and that area. Every day on InfoWars, the crew is complaining about something that mayor was doing. So, you got out of a very bad area, and it's not that we, the people, blame all our problems on one or two politicians, but if they set the table, and in order to eat your meal, you need a cup to hold your water, and they set the table, and your table only has butter knives, and they got a big pitcher of water, and they're just pouring it on the table. There's no cups to pour the water. They're doing it just to taunt you at that point. It's not about whether you drink the water or not. It's to mock you. So
absolutely.
I'm just taking a look here. There's a lot of stuff in the chat, by the way, tonight, including stuff about medical abuses and other things. And I still haven't forgotten what they did. When you see your whole city and your whole neighborhood, it's supposed to be a conservative bastion. Everybody's bending the knee to the mask. I'm sorry that me, I in my other, life, I wear a mask and I wear tights and I, do stupid acrobatics off the ropes or whatever. And to see people putting on a mask when they don't even know what the symbolism and the sacred history of masks are, or the slavery history of masks in other cultures, particularly in the South. It's like you guys all admitted to being slaves and you're supposed to be conservative free thinkers. It's embarrassing. So, I'm upset still for my own community, even if they don't have a memory, I have a memory. It's why that was the Republican logo. We never forget, we conserve. We're supposed to be these elephants. Well, elephants are very peaceful until we get to moving. But when a whole herd of elephants moves, then pachyderms actually kick up a lot of dirt. But you do it alone. The guys with the elephant muskets will be like, hey, get that elephant. But when there's a whole herd of pachyderms coming down there in India or in Africa, everybody scatters. Just be sure you don't break any property when you get together, guys. I'm just saying.
Well, I remember a time when one person stood, then others would sit, and it just doesn't seem that way.
Well, I would say that's kind of a choice. People are finding more reasons to divide than unite. And at the
Yes.
end of the day, we have more that unites us than divides us. As far as I know, Johnny, yourself, and me, we all breathe fresh air. We like fresh water, and we want our families to be preferably left alone as much as possible. So that's three things we have in common, regardless.
Mhm.
Now, there are other folks who disagree with all that. They want to tax the air you breathe, put chemicals in the water you drink, and they think your family is their business. In fact, they
Yeah.
say go handle your business when you need time off with your family. And even more so, they want to reach into your family, mess around with how much money you do or don't get based on how big or small your family is, and also say that if your children refuse to attend school because the subjects we teach are not correct, we will do this or this to you. Well, what did people in Orange County do? They restarted the homeschooling movement, and there's over 10,000 families that are homeschooling their children now. I guarantee you
Oh,
those districts are filling it because they're not getting the money when those kids aren't in class. And then in Chino, which is it's practically Riverside, but it's on the San Bernardino County line. They Chino and Chino Hills, they've pulled their kids out of school. They're doing the homeschooling, and we have people from there who were helping with that, who are running, for a de facto office. Still better than not doing anything, and they're making really good showings, even in spite of rigged elections and stuff. Some of our people are slipping through. There's a former uh, gubernatorial candidate, Marine, and he's aware of the assemblies and stuff. His name's David Serpa, and he's running for treasurer. Very smart surgical move he's doing. I have to give him applause. And then if you
Serpa?
follow, yeah, Dave
Is it
Serpa,
Serpa? Yeah, it must be
SERPA.
Portuguese or Brazilian. Sounds like
Yeah, he's
it's
a good dude.
Portuguese or Brazilian.
Yeah. And again, United States Marine Corps, so he gets a love for me just for that, Um,
mhm.
as long as you don't betray the oath, that's all I ask. Don't betray your oath, brother.
Right.
Um, and I'll go even up to Alaska. Bonnie, I think you heard Destry's running for governor up there. He's done the paperwork. He's on the ballot. And one of his moves as executive order, just like Gavin Newsom redistricted California at the drop of a hat, Destry will put the Alaska Covenant on the ballot for everyone in Alaska to vote for or to not vote for, basically hijacking the de facto to restore the de jure. Now that,
Wow.
my folks, that's a ballsy move.
Yeah, Alaska just jumped right into
Yep.
not to mention Alaska with the assembly. They just
I'm gonna do
jumped.
you one better, Bonnie. Yeah. There was a thing where it was like interviewing all the candidates for governor, and there's
Mm,
basically like 5 or 6 fake Destrys now out of nowhere running, including a bar member that's like a blonde-eyed, blue-eyed, pretty girl. Da 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 da. And it's like, wow, all these guys are copying Destry's platform exactly, except they're not Destry, and they just popped up out of nowhere. See, the de facto is so scared of when we, the people, hear and read the truth, they create counterfeits to divide. So, I'm just asking you guys, if you feel like doing something, research it and do it to the best of your ability. And some of you are, so I commend you. And then some of us, we are, and we're getting interesting results. I'm gonna leave it at that because me going back in time and looking up old John Quaid and his Jural Society and seeing that referred to Michigan and Michigan refers to national and national is current. And it's an interesting time warp, but let's just say I found other leads, and I'll be following up on those leads. I'll eventually let you guys know what they develop into. I'm very interested in one or two positive leads. I have one that wasn't a good lead. I'll be honest. I called up the old Jural Society phone number, and it breaks my heart that it's disconnected and no longer in service. But that's father time for you. Sometimes a
oh,
lead turns out to be dead. So you guys got to get doing whatever, because you don't want that phone number of someone you should have talked to or somebody who you should have worked with You don't want that number to come up dead and that the time is missed and the opportunity is passed, because that gets you into the regrets and the what ifs of life. And I'm going to my grave with no what ifs. So
There you go.
yep. And then, like the old Johnny Cash says, hopefully there ain't no grave that'll hold my body down.
There's a girl that sings that song, I think now. Ain't no grave that can hold
Oh, yeah.
me down. Yeah.
I've heard about 4 covers, and that song, a lot of stuff, Cash's stuff is nice. That's why I like to joke and say I'm a Johnny Cash Christian. The man had some spirituality. If you ever read his autobiography and stuff, you'll be touched about his stuff. I mean, he persevered in life, and there were times he wanted to quit on himself, but June wouldn't quit on him, or life wouldn't quit on him. The Lord wouldn't quit on him. And so, God bless Johnny Cash, and God bless America.
Amen. Well, thank you, Sean. And be safe at work.
Yep. I got about 4 minutes to start my routine. So you have a good one over there in the state of Texas, Bonnie. Keep in touch, because I got some follow-up for you with some other things you just said earlier. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye for now.
It was nice
Take care.
meeting you, Sean.
Pleasure, Johnny.
I'm in Northern California, so I think I know
Oh.
where you're at in SoCal.
Yeah, excellent. We should talk later then, as far as bringing the counties and the state, a little bit tighter. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm in Sacramento. Used to be in Fresno, but in Sacramento. I know where Tino's at, the prison. I know that area, man. Riverside. Yep.
Yep, perfect. Yeah. Sheriff Bianco, if you saw his campaign, I'll finish this up real quick. That Steve Hilton guy that was from the United Kingdom, and suddenly he's some British Republican, blah, blah. Yeah. Bianco was getting more traction out here organically than all these bot farms on Facebook for Hilton. I'm just saying, if you look at the comments were like 93-7 for Bianco. Meanwhile, Bianco's only drawing 10% of the vote. Yeah.
Wow.
I believe that one.
Sean, I don't know if you heard of IBM Stream Sets. A lot of politicians are using IBM Stream Sets instead of StreamYard or YouTube, OpenPanel, Zoom. That's the new thing. I don't know if you ever heard of IBM, like the old IBM Stream Sets.
Yeah, I'm aware of IBM. The issue with them and their connections to Gates and Planned Parenthood and a lot of the other stuff. Basically, IBM is like French kissing the military-industrial complex. You know what I mean? So it's a problem, whether it's Zoom, Signal, or whatever. You take your pick. There's always something in terms of networking. You got to look at who the software is, how it's vetted, and then if it has encryption, and who can break the encryption. So there's a lot in that world too to look out for. But it's about two more minutes till I got to get going here. So I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, let you guys go. Thanks again for everything. Take care and God bless. And thanks for putting the links in the chat, guys. Appreciate it.
God bless you too, Sean.
God bless you too, Sean, and have a good night, man. Hopefully.
Will do.
Yes. Always interesting. So how have you been, Johnny?
I'm good. Yeah, no, I'm still pretty young myself, so 43 is still pretty young, so I don't got nothing to worry about pretty much. Got no kids, so I mean, don't have much headaches to worry about.
Age has nothing to do with it.
I talk about like health problems. No, I last time I had health problems was 2021, November 1st of 2021.
Yeah, I remember.
Too much
No, I
herbs,
just,
and also the
I
two vaccine
should have
shots.
said, how was your day?
Oh, I'm good. It's good weather here in Sacramento. It's like 82 degrees today. No humidity, very low humidity. Perfect weather for June 19th, man. It's pretty good.
Well,
Normally,
that's good.
what was that?
I said, that's great. We're going up in the heat wave. A friend of mine in Upper Michigan was showing me the temperatures there, and it's like 40s, 50s, 10 degrees lower than it would normally be at this time of year. Kind of unusual.
Yeah, when you go up higher elevation, it gets a little bit cooler. Like Lake Tahoe gets 12 degrees cooler than Sacramento, and it's only an hour away.
Yeah, but that's normal there. This is like, we're fixing to, well, okay, we're not fixing to hit July real quick. I'm kind of pushing it, but quicker than it felt. I have an appointment on July 1st, and it was like already July. My goodness, where'd June go?
June Carter, where you at? No, I'm messing with you.
Well, and it's so but at the same time, the northern states, Michigan, Wyoming, they've had the heat waves too. You've heard Carl.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Around the 10,000 Lakes area, you'd think it's cooler there. It's just odd. The only place that's cooler than here, than Sacramento, better weather than California is than West California. Central Valley gets hot. It has less delta, like Fresno, Bakersfield's hot. Even Paso Robles is hot. Redding sometimes gets hot. Red Bluff gets hot. Chico gets hot. But the rest of California is relatively cool. Half of it. So yeah, but Hawaii's pretty cool. Oregon, Washington, Western Oregon, Washington is pretty cool. So yeah.
So you don't think there's anything going on with the weather?
Oh, I would say the jet stream sometimes goes backwards, and half the U.S. gets heat waves, and the other half does not. It's kind of weird. The south half sometimes it reverses from the east to the west, to the north to the south. I would say they are still putting crop dusters with the aluminum particles to bring clouds to rain when they want. But then that in theory puts more pollution in the air, which messes the ozone layer up, I would say. And then you get more sun rays to come through the ozone layer and make it hotter. But yeah, I'm not a expert on weather and the ozone layer, so yeah, this is my opinion.
Yeah. I'm just wondering what the long-term effects of those kind of things are going to be. But
Your kids will probably see it worse than you. Me, I might see it a little bit worse, but I'm not that far behind either.
right. No, I don't expect, I mean, unless things just get really, really crazy in the next, I don't know, 10 years. I
Nah,
have
well,
no idea.
it can't be 10 years, maybe 20 years, 25-ish, quarter century, but not 10. I mean, 10's not enough time, I don't think.
Yeah. Dane Whittington.
There is doomers that really think AI are gonna, 10 years it's gonna be in robots. You're gonna have, C9000 bots that are pimp robots that pimp out sex traffic poor kids. I just don't think that's gonna happen that fast. That'd be crazy if you had pimp robots, to where the robot, the owner of the robot, doesn't get blamed. They just say it's the brain of the robot himself, the pimp robot. So I
Yeah.
don't think that's gonna happen in a while. They're projecting it to be 2050. I don't know if you watched the movie from Dean Cain. The Secrets, the magician guy, the forgot the magician show that was on in 1999 with Dean Cain. But yeah, he made a movie called 2050. It was a movie back in 2018 called 2050. And that's his projection of when robots, the pimp robots and AI stations taking everybody's water is 2050, which is, I don't know how many years is that now, 24 years from now. So that's right on. estimation.
Okay, now I've heard everything. Pimp robots.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you heard the Amazing Lucas channel. He is a big advocate of C9000 robots. He has a panel every Saturday night. His panels could be crazy. I'm on there sometimes too. It's mostly African American on there because he is African American. But yeah, no, he's open minded to anybody. Yeah, he's cool. He's a big advocate of C9000 robots because he believes that if you're in an area to where your zip code has high crime and it doesn't matter if it's the woman, the mom, or the dad, they believe that they should just give them a sexy robot, let's just put it that way, instead of have kids. So I mean, that's how he thinks.
Well, hopefully that will not happen. That's what I keep saying. Have the babies. We can't let them depopulate. And Sherry, I have that written down. Thank you for mentioning that again. To check him out.
Yeah, Amazing Lucas is just odd. It's just sometimes he has a guy named Chuck on panel that is crazy. He's also into AI too. I think he works on like something similar. I think it's CGI or something. It's the AI before AI, like the AI of 10 or 20 years ago. It's the CGI.
Yes.
He works on that system. Yeah, no, he has people on panel that are just, they think of random crazy things that can make sense or sound genius, and then sound crazy and stupid at the same time. 1 minute they sound crazy and stupid, and the next minute they can sound genius. It's just amazing. It's like a teeter totter.
Well,
Entertainment.
we've all been called crazy past 6 years, and that's okay. I'll hold that crazy because it just it's like a connect the dots or building a puzzle, and the pieces are just coming together and it's all connected. Everything. I'm gonna drop the link again.
But after a while, he's not chill. Amazing Lucas panels is not chill. They get 10 people on panel most of the time. So yeah, it's not chill. The other chill panel that actually is pretty cool with theories and government issues and other things, military complexes, whatever, is Traveling Fools. That guy is cool. TF is cool. He's a Pisces like me, zodiac sign, but guys, he's a cool guy. His panel is a perfect balance of female and male. They talk about everything too, and they don't talk about pimp robots and stuff like that, but other stuff that's cool.
And that's Traveling Fools.
Yeah, Traveling Fools. It's a channel that started in 2020 out of Tennessee. I think it's.
I've heard that name before.
East Tennessee.
Even, but
I believe he's from Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. Either Vegas or Tennessee. I think half his panels from Vegas and the other half's from Tennessee. I think it's Nashville or Knoxville. I'm not sure. One's East Tennessee and one's West Tennessee. But yeah, it's Tennessee.
What do you mean, boo? What? You're awake?
He probably doesn't like Tennessee, I'm guessing.
Yes, Cheryl, that's what he's saying. That's what I was like. Okay, now I've heard everything. Well, you can
Well-
go over it. What?
Well, I mean, there has been a cartoon. I don't know if you remember Futurama back in 1999 with the robot Bender. You know, the robot called Bender on Futurama. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
Kathy Seagal. Remember Kathy Seagal, the lady that was married to Al Bundy, married to children. She was the voice of Leela.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was not much of a TV person, so a lot of things got by me.
Yeah, if you type in Bender, that is a pimp robot right there. That Bender would be the face of the pimp robot. Bender on Futurama. You just type in his highlights.
Bender.
Bender, Futurama.
That makes me think of shapeshifters or airbenders or.
Oh yeah, no, he's a drunk pimp bot that bends things and scraps things, melts things. He's a steel worker basically with the antenna.
So but he's a robot.
Oh yes, he's a robot, and he's AI. His brain is powered by AI, not AI, CGI. It's just a
And he
a
gets
brain.
drunk.
Go ahead.
And
Oh yeah, he's drunk. He drinks like crazy, dude. He farts fire. He burps fire. He's a crazy guy. Sometimes he puts roller skates on, like his shoes turn into roller skates. He can extend his arms out, like Mr. Stretch, the Stretch Armstrong guy.
Yes.
He's a crazy guy. He gets frequencies with his antenna, like cell tower frequencies, satellites frequencies. He has like really good vision because he has Homer Simpson eyes. Because Futurama is the same writer, Matt Groening from Portland, Oregon, as The Simpsons. So it's kind of like a robot version of Homer Simpson. Bender is kind of like Homer Simpson, but a little bit smarter version in some ways, of Homer Simpson on The Simpsons. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And they're weird cartoons. I don't know. Other than The Simpsons and Futurama, I don't know. South Park's too extreme sometimes. They're funny, but 1997 out of South Park, Colorado. Basically, the south half of Colorado. That's where South Park came from. The writers. They're probably 60ish by now, or around 60 by now.
Bro. Not looking. What's being silly in the chat?
He's being silly. Yeah, I don't really see the chat. I could split screen it like I do on other panels. But I also have a second cell phone, but I just don't do it. I just, what comes on the screen, for years and Watts and other people that just read that,
So if I put it up here, you can see it.
Oh yeah, I could see it then. But it's my fault for not split screening and seeing chat and what's on panel,
Yep.
I've seen Speakeasy. He was on Watt's panel yesterday. I believe he's an East Canada guy. I've seen his panels. He brings people from Raging Tomato. I don't know if you heard of Raging Tomato. Sarah and Raging Tomato. Yeah.
He was not a nice guy.
What's that?
He was not a nice guy. Just saying.
Yeah, he's not a nice guy. I mean, there's a lot of people like that on panel. He's just trying to cause conversation, but he's not being mean. It's just trying to just debate you. It's like just debating. It's kind of like the Christian versus Muslim debates. They're not mean. It's just they're
And
This
I
to me.
understand that. I've pushed a few buttons myself, because I do have a lot of questions, and usually I stick to what I believe to be true, but my mind can change. We all have that ability to change our mind, and I think that's where a lot of the division comes from, is when you see something happening and you react instantly without knowing all the facts and what's really going on, and then you start seeing what's really going on. So then it can change your mind. You can be like, but wait a minute, what happened to just humanity, just us being human?
Bonnie, if you say humanity on like other panels, they'll actually troll you. I'm sorry, they'll be like, "Oh, the humanity." It's terrible. But I'm just saying, it's cool. I mean, but it's funny in some ways.
So you get made fun of for believing in humanity. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, I gotta see what y'all are up to. Go dogs. What happened to Hook 'em Horns, too? Oh, well, Pat, we've probably all said too much. I'm not worried. It is what it is. We got pretty deep tonight.
but but as for it's sad that they do make fun of people that say the humanity, but it's just their way of just making a meme or like a one-liner, catchy one-liner, or like a tweet back in the day.
Right.
That's what they're trying to do.
Well,
A sound bite.
right. But it's kind of concerning because it seems we have kind of lost that. And, especially if we claim to be Christian, there's lines that I draw because of that like last night when I went a little too far with deaths that have happened, and I bet that is my line, is I understand defending yourself, but other than that, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah. No, I mean that's why I don't go on. I used to have like 130 panels I went on. That's why I'm down to 64, and I'll probably cut more because I mean just the memes, the sound bites, the one-liners, whatever you want to call it. That's all they're looking for, as headliners, to where your headliner will show up on a Google search in the first 5 pages, or on a Yahoo search on the first 5 pages, or the Brave search. I forget the other one, Edge from Microsoft, MSN. yeah, that'll show up too. That's what they're looking for, is that pretty much.
Yeah. All right. It's time for a hose. I read today, I don't know how many men are in a troop. Y'all might know that in chat. I can't remember how many it is in a troop. But Lackland Air Force Base has, I think it was 160 troops. I could be misinformationing the numbers, are down with the flu. Like, it sounds like it's the whole dadgum Air Force Base. So it probably started in the mess hall, because that would be the common, I would think, maybe. Who was that was up and said that they were just a cook? And each position is important. Everybody's got to eat, and those guys should have appreciated having a cook. Yeah, the flu. So, of course, the media is putting it. Of course, this is right after Hegseth said that they didn't need to get flu shots anymore. So is it real or is it Memorex? Here we go again. Yes, Pat. True. And it's June. June is not flu season. I guess it can happen anytime.
Maybe it's allergies and lungs that affects it, make it sound like or feel like the flu.
Yes. And that's what we've got going on, because the ragweed, the grass pollens, I think, are the ones that are really high right now. Sorry, had to answer my daughter.
That's cool, buddy. You're
Good
still
enough.
very chill. It's a good thing that you're still chill.
Ugh, it didn't do any good to get all irate. Then everybody's mad and don't get to see my grandkids and, what have you. No, there's, that's another thing. All these problems that we have, I just heard thunder. Oh, please let it rain. And, but all these problems that we have can be handled in a calm way. It took me a hard lesson to realize that. That's why I played that one video. And I realized my reactions could have been handled better, but can't change the past. It is what I won't say it, Pat. Interesting. Yeah, I know some that were told not to get excuse me, not to get any of those. Answering it again.
I mean, what would be cool, for not to change the subject of what you were talking about, is for debaters, like Muslim debaters and Christian debaters, if they do like the ASMR or the ASMR style debates, where it's just, you know, quiet talking, kind of like your voice is, very calm, low tone, you know, like the old maintain low tone Coneheads. Remember the movie? That's their, you know, their slogan back then. That'd be cool if they could just turn into ASMR. A lot of these Christian Muslim debate channels, instead of just yelling like crazy people sometimes that probably drink too much or on pills or whatever.
Yeah.
That'd be
Well,
the best.
and a lot of people are really passionate about our some believe you have to yell or cuss to get your point across. And I have found that that's not always the case. It's you can get your point across without yelling and cussing. Good night, B. You have a blessed night too. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and close it since I have a day tomorrow and it really is starting to thunder and I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to drop the link for Backstage if any of y'all want to come back and visit. If I drop out, I'll switch to my phone. Thankfully, there's a backup. There's the link. Excuse me. Y'all have a good weekend. Stay blessed. And I'll see you next time. Maybe at Watts, maybe here. We'll see what happens. Elaine, it's so good to see you, hon. Right. Love y'all. Have a good night.
Have a good night. God bless you guys all in the chat too.
And thank you, Johnny, for coming up. And Sean.
No, thanks for having me, Bonnie.
Good night, y'all.